Hello everyone and welcome to the new series of videos on my YouTube channel. In this series, we are going to learn about Git, the most popular version control system out there. So without further ado, let's get down to this. We're gonna start off with a short overview of this course. Each video will last about 10 minutes and we should have 10 videos in total by the end of this series. In my Git videos, I will heavily rely on the book called Pro Git, written by Scott Chasson and Ben Straub. So whenever I show any images from this book in my videos, I will add a small icon presenting this book to the slides. Last but not least, I encourage you to test out the examples that I show in this video on your own. Having said that, let's move to the first topic, and that is definition of version control system. As you can see, VCS is a system that records changes to a file or set of files over time so that we can recall specific versions later. VCS allows us to restore deleted files, revert files to previous versions. We can use it locally on our own or with other people. Finally, we can easily track modifications made to the files. We can easily see who changed a file, what was changed and when. That's some of the features of version control system. But let's see what is so special about Git. And first of all, Git is a distributed version control system. And what it means is that when we clone a repository, we fully mirror that repository, saving its complete history to our local disk. So in other words, if we have a group of developers working on a project using some central server, like we can see on the picture, and if that server goes down, we can easily restore the data because every developer has a full backup of the data on local disk. Secondly, Git treats its data as a stream of snapshots. Think of it this way. Whenever you commit your changes to the project, Git basically takes a picture of what all the project files look like at that very moment, at the same time saving a reference to that snapshot. Next, Git is known for its local nature, which means that most operations in Git can be done locally without the need to use the internet. This obviously brings performance boost because we don't have to worry about network latency when we're using Git. Remember, when we clone a repository, we have the whole database of the project on our local system. So each operation querying that system is almost instantaneous. Last but not least, everything in Git is checksummed. Internally, Git uses sh1 hash function that generates hash value. So if you change a file within your project, Git references this change by a hash value. It means as well that you cannot change a file without Git not knowing about this. Okay, so now that we have some theory behind us, let's see what we should configure first after installing Git. I'm going to hop into my terminal and we'll configure username and email address in Git. But before we do that, I will create a directory in my projects folder, and in there we'll initiate a Git repository. So basically, when we create a file, it will be tracked by Git. Okay, so let's see where we are. I'm going to navigate to my projects folder. Obviously, I don't want to create this because it exists already. I'm gonna go in there, and in here we're going to create a directory called repo1. I'm going to go there and we'll initiate a Git repository here. And to do that, we'll use the command called git init. If we run now ls using -a option, we'll see that a hidden directory was created. That's where Git stores its objects specific to your project. Okay, but let's go back to user and email configuration. First of all, to change configuration in Git, we use git config utility. Git config --list gives us a listing of settings, and it's important to know that in Git we have 3 levels of settings, which are system settings, global settings, and local. System settings apply system-wide to all user profiles on your computer. Global settings to your profile and local to the specific repository or project you are working at. We are going to configure global setting. So I'm going to use the following command here. Git config -- global. And this option obviously specifies that we mean the global settings. And first of all, we wanted to configure the username. So I'm going to say username. And I'm going to put in here my name. Secondly, we're going to configure email address. There we go. These settings are very important because when you commit your changes later on, when you work on a project, these details will be baked into every commit you make. Alright, so there are other settings that you might look into as well, like for example, default text editor that you can change that will be used by Git in some of its operation. Alright, let's now talk about 3 stages in which files can reside within Git. The first one is called modified or working directory. And it means that basically you have modified a file but haven't sent it to your database yet. The second one is labeled stage. And it means that you mark a file in its current form to go into your next commit snapshot. This allows you to selectively choose files that should be committed to the database. The last one is called committed, and it means that the data is safely stored in the database. Obviously, we'll work and move within all these 3 stages a lot in this course, so you'll understand it much better. At last, I want to quickly mention how we can get help in Git, and this can be used in the following ways. First of all, we can achieve that using git help verb syntax. Secondly, we can use git verb -- help syntax. And the third option is man git -verb syntax. And if you want to see just a listing of available options without its full description, you can use git verb -h syntax. Okay, that would be it for this video. Thank you for watching, stay safe and have a great day. Bye bye.